Okay, so we're gonna go over Cheddar's commands and show you how you can stay consistent with Cheddar once he goes home. So first I'm gonna show you how to turn his remote collar on. To turn his collar on, there's a small red key on the collar or on the remote, and then on the collar there's another small red key. To turn the collar on, we're gonna tap these two together till you see that green light flash. Now the collar is on. And then we're gonna turn the remote on. So on the back of this remote, there's a large L button right here. You're gonna press and hold that until your screen lights up. So now it shows that it's on. So now both the collar and the remote are on. When we want to give Cheddar a correction on this remote, to this side, there's a black S button. That is Cheddar's correction level. So my hand is gonna be Cheddar's neck. And if I need to give him a correction, I'm gonna say no, press the black S button, and then remind him what command he's gonna be in. So his first command is heel. This is loose leash walking on the left-hand side. We want Cheddar to be right next to your leg, paying attention to you, and you wanna be able to have a nice relaxed arm and a nice relaxed leash. You can reward him when he's in this position. Good boy, good job. We wanna kind of keep it calmer praising with Cheddar so he doesn't get too excited. You can do a good job, good boy, and just keep going, or you can give him little pats on the head, or you can offer him those treats for the first couple weeks especially, so that you build that reward history up with him. But if Cheddar were to walk too far ahead of you on this walk, you're gonna say no, you're gonna press the black S button and remind him heel. Again, Cheddar's supposed to be here right next to your leg. If he were to walk too far ahead of you, you're gonna say no, press the black S button and remind him heel. His next command is sit. This is a sit stay, but the stay is implied. So when we want Cheddar to sit, we'll ask him to sit. If he doesn't do that right away, you can say no, press the black S button and remind him sit. And then once he's sitting, if you want to walk away to go put your shoes on or grab a jacket because it's still a little bit chilly out, whatever you want to do before his walk maybe, or you just want to have him sit there for a few minutes to practice, you can tell him sit. And then before you walk away, you want to remind Cheddar to sit. This reminds him what he's supposed to be doing, and that kind of comes into play instead of the stay word. So we just remind him sit, and then he's supposed to stay in that sit until he's released. But if you were to get up too early from that, you're going to say no, press the black S button and remind him sit. So now that sit stay is implied until you come back to him. We want to go back to Cheddar, and then we can reward him for that good job, good boy, give him a treat, some pets, and then you can say free or heel, whatever command you want to put him to next. Free isn't really a command, but that's his release word. So if you wanted him to go sniff or go potty on your walk, instead of saying heel, you would say free so that he knew he was free to go do that. If you want him to get up from a sit stay, you can say free. That way he knows he's free from the stay or from the sit command, and he can go do what he wants. He doesn't have to go into a heel with you or whatever you wanted him to do next. So that is sit stay. His next command is down stay. This is pretty much the same as the sit stay, except now we're using the word down, and Cheddar has to be laying down on the ground. But for when we want him to stay, we're going to remind Cheddar down before we walk away. So you'll ask Cheddar to go into a down. Sometimes he sits first and then goes into that down, but as long as he's going into that down, you don't need to correct him. But if Cheddar were to not go into that down, he were just to sit and then to look at you, or he were just to keep standing, you're going to say no, press the black S button, and then remind him down. Once Cheddar's in that down, if you want to reward him, you can reward him with those treats, but you want to reward Cheddar with those treats low to the ground. That way his head stays low to the ground and he's not jumping up or getting up to get those treats. So good down, good boy. Remind him down before you walk away, and then once you're ready to release him, you can go back to him. Good job, good boy. You can reward him with those treats again if you want to, and then you can free or heal him, whatever you want him to do next. So that is his down stay. His next command is place stay. So unlike the sit stay and the down stay, the place stay is on an elevated boundary. It helps Cheddar know if he's on or not. There's not many rules on the place stay bed, but he has to stay on the bed, and he can't bark or whine or chew on anything on the bed other than toys that you gave him to chew on. But he can be sitting, standing, kind of moving around a little bit, or laying down. There's not really a command where he has to be laying down or he has to be sitting on that bed. He's free to do what he wants as long as he stays on the bed and he's not being loud or destructive. So that is place stay. Again, that's just to stay on an elevated boundary like the place bed. you would send Cheddar to place by saying place, or walk him to place, tell him place. You can reward Cheddar for this, but you want to reward him with the treats on the bed. That way Cheddar thinks the treats are coming from the bed and he's more likely to stay on the bed. Then when you want Cheddar to stay on the bed, you'll remind him place before you walk away. And then this one especially, you want to go back to him to reward and release him. So you'll go all the way back to Cheddar, you'll reward on the bed, good place, good boy, and then you can release him by saying free or heal, whatever you want him to do next. So that is place stay. His next command is come when called or recall. So Cheddar's out in the yard sniffing, playing, maybe going potty, and he gets done doing his business and you're ready for him to come back to you. You're going to say come really loud and firm. You're going to take a few steps backwards and then you can praise him as he's coming back towards you. Good boy, good job. Then once he's to you, he's supposed to sit, and you can reward him for sitting and coming back to you. Then he has to stay in that sit until you release him by saying free again, or you can have him heal when you're all done playing the recall game. So again, you'll send Cheddar out to the yard, let him sniff, go potty, play, whatever you want him to do. And then you'll say, come, really loud and firm, take a few steps backwards to welcome Cheddar into your space. Then you can praise him as he's coming back. Then you can always give Cheddar a target to come to. So if he's getting too excited or he's jumping, you can put the treats in your hand and you can put those treats on your thigh. That way Cheddar's nose goes right to those treats instead of coming up on you to get those treats or get that pet and praise. So you'll give Cheddar a target to run to on your thigh with those treats. Good job, good boy. He comes back to you, he sits, then he gets those treats and he waits for you to release him to what he's supposed to do next. So that is come when called. Then his last command is leave it. So Cheddar is in the kitchen with you and you want to practice leave it. You can have his dog food or his treats, maybe some chicken or hot dogs, anything like that that is dog safe already. You can practice dropping on the ground, and then you want to tell Cheddar leave it. If Cheddar doesn't leave it right away, the first couple times maybe practice this with his leash and his prong collar on. That way you can correct him and keep him away from it. But once you've practiced for a few times with the collar and leash on, you can practice without the collar and leash on. So you'll just want the remote collar. And if Cheddar goes towards whatever you dropped on the ground or he doesn't listen, you can say leave it, or you'll say no, press the black S button and say leave it. We want to practice this with dog safe foods first for Cheddar, just in case he were to get it, and then you can correct him for that and keep practicing. But then you have that for when it's a pill or some liquid that he's not supposed to drink or anything like that that Cheddar can't have, then you have that in play. But again, dog safe foods first, practice with the leash on the first couple times, and then once you're ready to do it without the leash on, you can do it with the remote collar. So you'll say no, press the black S button and remind him leave it if he goes towards that food. Same with recall. If he's not coming back to you, you'll say no, press the black S button and remind him come. So those are his commands and how to correct him with the remote collar. We'll quickly go over the prong collar. So this has the little prongs that come apart. So I always like to push the one up with my finger, and then you can pinch them with your other hand and pull them apart. Then to put this back together around Cheddar's neck, you'll put one side in, pinch it together, slide it in, and now that's on Cheddar's neck. So this is going to sit on Cheddar's neck like this. If you need to correct him for getting up from a sit stay, you'd say no, pull up, just a quick pop and release, sit. We pulled an upward motion for the sit because that tells Cheddar that he needs to put his butt on the ground. Then if Cheddar were in a down stay and he were to get up from that, you're going to say no, quick pop and release, down. We pull in a downward motion for the down stay so that he's reminded that he's supposed to go into a downward motion. If he doesn't leave it, you're just going to pull back. And if he's not listening to you in a heel, you're going to say no, quick pop and release, heel. If he's ahead of you or to the side of you, you'll just pull him towards you. Give him a quick pop and release. That way he's reminded to come back into your space. So that's how to correct Cheddar with the prong collar. So now that we've quickly gone over Cheddar's collars and we've told you about his commands, now we're going to show you his commands. boy. Sit. Sit. Free. Stop. Good boy. Heel. Good heel. Good heel. Sit.
Hello guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sit. Good boy. Sit. Come down. Come away. Down. Good down. You. Down. Good boy. Good down. Good boy. Good down. Good boy. Good down. Good boy. Good job, Chad. Good down. Free. Good boy. Good boy. Again. This way. What are you doing? Okay. Leave it. Good boy. Good job. Okay. Good boy. Free. You're free. Leave it. Good boy. Okay. Free. Good boy. Good job. Here. Place. Good boy. Good job, Ched. Good place. Place. Good place, Ched. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Place. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Job, Cheddar. Good place. Free. Good boy. Good job. Sit. Good boy. Sit. Okay, so now that we've gone over and shown you Cheddar's commands, we're going to go over the remote collar more in depth. So to turn these off, you're going to hit these two red keys together, just really quick tap them together until that flashes red. And then on the back of the remote, there's that black L button in the center. You're going to press and hold that until your screen shuts off. So to turn these back on, you're going to tap the two red keys together till it flashes that green light. That's going to flash green every couple seconds now to show you that the collar is on and charged. If it flashes yellow or red, that just means that it needs to put on the charger for a couple hours. Then on the remote, on the back of that remote, there's that black L button in the center. You're going to press and hold that until your screen lights up. So now, on the front of this collar, it says the number 30. That is Cheddar's correction level. So if we hit the black S button, that's going to be level 30 on his collar. So black S button is 30. Then under that black S button is a red S button. If you touch the red S button, that's going to be level 61 for Cheddar. This is what we call the boost feature or the emergency feature. So if Cheddar is running towards the road and you need to get his attention right away because there's a car coming or some other emergency that he's in where you need to get his attention right away, you're going to press the red S button until you get Cheddar's attention and he's coming back towards you. So again, his normal level, the black S button is 30 and the red S button is 61. 30, 61. I have not had to use that boost feature with Cheddar yet, so that should get his attention pretty quickly. Then, those are the two buttons on this side, his regular correction level and his boost feature. On the other side of the remote, there's that black T button. The black T button is the vibrate feature. You can hear that just vibrates the collar. I also have not used this on Cheddar. You may be able to use it in the future as like a warning if he were to do something. That didn't really warrant a correction, but if he keeps doing it, it may warrant a correction. So you can use the black T button as a warning. But again, I have not tried that on Cheddar, so I don't know how he'll react to that. Then on the back of this remote, there's that black L button in the center that we hold to turn the collar, or to turn the remote on and off. If I just tap that, that turns on the flashlight feature. So again, you press and hold that to turn the remote on and off, but if you just tap it, it turns the flashlight feature on. Then next to that button is a small M/C button. That button changes the collar from momentary to continuous. Cheddar was at continuous in the beginning, but now he's just at momentary, and that shouldn't need to be changed. So that M/C button shouldn't need to be pressed. Then on the front of this remote, we have this little dial here. If I turn this right now, it is locked in at 30. Yep, locked in at 30. If I press and hold this down, that 30 is gonna flash, and it already changed to 35. This is really touchy, so we'll put it at 30. Now this is unlocked, so I can change this to whatever now. But Cheddar is usually at 30. If you get home with Cheddar and 30 isn't enough, then you can try turning him up to 35. But if you get home and you feel like 30 is too much for Cheddar, you're at home, he's more comfortable, there's less distractions there at the beginning, you can try turning him back down to 25. Only go in 5s, and he's at 30, so if you have to go up to 35 or 40, maybe go back to practicing on leash more and then trying it at 30 again. We want to make sure that Cheddar understands all the commands with you and understands how to do it on leash. That way he's good at it off leash as well. But again, if you have to go up to 35 or 40 with Cheddar on the remote collar, try turning it back down to 30 and then put him back on the leash and prong collar and try working with him for a little bit with that, and then you can go back to using the remote collar at 30 again. But this is still unlocked, so I'm going to put it back to 30, which is Cheddar's correction level, and I'm going to press and hold this down until that 30 flashes. Now that is locked back in place, so we can't accidentally hit it or change it. Just since this is so touchy, you want to make sure that this is locked when it's at the level that we want it to be at. So that is the remote. Then on the collar, there are these prongs that make contact with Cheddar's skin. These are the shorter ones still, I think, and there are longer ones in the box if you think that his hair is interfering too much maybe, and you need to put the longer prongs on. Those are in the box. And then we have the quick snap release for the collar. If Cheddar grows any and you need to loosen this a little bit, you can loosen it with this and then just go back to using this once this is set back to his size. But that's how you would do that. Again, the prong collar sits on his neck like this, and you'll give him corrections by a quick pop and release. And then to get this apart, you'll push the prongs up, slide them out. Then to put it back together, you'll put one side in, pinch them together, put the other one in, and slide it down. So that is the prong collar. Then inside this box, we have those longer prongs I talked about that you can put on his remote collar if you want to. And then in this little bag is the little screwdriver tool that you would use to loosen and tighten those again. Then we've got the original buckle that the collar came with. So that just has this part, but not this little quick snap. So if you want to go back to using that one, you can. And then we've got Cheddar's collar. You can charge both the collar and the remote at the same time. And then under this, we've got the instruction manual. And that's just for if you want to go over the collar and its details more in depth. And then on the back of this box is a number and an email to contact for the 2-year warranty that we send home with the collars. So the collar is waterproof, so Cheddar can go in the water, play, anything like that that he enjoys doing. But if he were to get wet, you want to make sure to take the collar off afterwards and dry him off really well. There's also the charging ports both on the collar and the remote that you want to make sure are shut all the way before he were to go into that water. But again, he can go into the water with the collar on, he can go swimming, things like that. But then if he gets out of the water and you're drying him off, take the remote collar off and make sure that he's dried off really well before putting that on, because we don't want him to get bacteria under those prongs for the remote collar and then get little sores from it sitting under there. So again, he can go swimming, but take it off afterwards. This also reaches half a mile, so you can use that for half a mile of a distance, and it stays charged for about 2 days if you're using it for 10 to 12 hours a day. So you get up in the morning, you can put this on Cheddar, but then before you go to bed, you also want to take this off of Cheddar. That way he's not wearing it all day and again isn't getting sores from bacteria getting underneath the collar. So 10 to 12 hours a day usually stays charged for about 2 days, and then you can put it on the charger for a couple hours and it should be good to go. So we're going to turn this back off really quick. Tap the two together, flash is red. Press and hold that black L button on the center of the back until your screen is off, and now those are both off. So those are Cheddar's commands and a more in-depth version of his remote collars. You want to be sure to stay consistent with Cheddar. Cheddar's still the puppy and he's still clumsy and, you know, kind of pushes your limit sometimes. So you want to be sure to be firm and consistent with Cheddar. Don't let him get away with things that you don't like. So if he does an unwanted behavior, be sure to correct him. But if he's doing calm behaviors that you do enjoy and do like, make sure you're praising him and giving rewards for that. That way he's more likely to do them on his own and in the future. So those are his commands, and that's how to stay consistent with him. Again, be sure to be firm with him and correct him when it's needed, but also make sure you're being fair and paying him for the good job that he's doing when he is doing good and listening and offering calm behaviors. So make sure to have fun and be consistent with Cheddar.